Thank you, Paul. Well, it's almost good evening to all of you. Hi, Ed. I haven't seen you. I would say we are all very brave. I'm way past my bedtime, as some of you here as well. And first, let me thank Julio. This meeting is happening because you're very perseverant. Congratulations, very well organized. And also, before I start, I was counting on the 21st speaker today. You know, it could always be worse because there's still Stephen Becker, and he's the 22nd, and the last one before we have dinner tonight. I'm going to do this presentation on behalf of WHO and UNAIDS, and also it will be complemented by Stephen Becker because we have several partners on the Treatment 2.0 agenda, but it's basically a WHO and UNAIDS initiative. You already seen that these are the 10 commitments that were agreed upon during the high-level meeting. Some people refer to them like the 10 commandments, but it's not very politically, religiously correct, so the 10 commitments. We've been discussing this past day and yesterday a lot about treatment as prevention and the potential we have to end this epidemic, but these are some hard facts. We have 6.6 million people in treatment. We have around 10 million people who need treatment and are not in treatment yet. And we have maybe at least 18 million people who will need treatment in the future for their own health. And we have to balance all that during this discussion and make it happen in the best way possible. We also have a situation where many of you have seen this. This is a UNAIDS graphic that analyzes how the financing progressed along the years, and we are seeing a flat line in our result of finance resources in the past years, and with all of you have been keeping track of the Global Fund issues and the different finances situation. Some of you mentioned, I think one or two speakers talked about, I remember John Blanford was one of them that was talking about the investments. How do we work best on what we have, and how can we apply resources better? So what I'm showing here, and I run a risk here because there are some of the modelers in this plenary here who were behind organizing the investment framework, the UNAIDS investment framework. And what basically it states is that if we really concentrate, focus our resources in 5 or 6 basic program activities. I say 5 or 6 because male circumcision does not apply to concentrated epidemics. And if you consider the critical enablers as what most of them are included in what we used to call, or some people still call, the structural interventions on prevention, if we have a combined approach, we can stop new infections and keep people alive. And this is also very important that we discuss here, because when we put treatment in isolation, are we going to get there, right? Even to get good results for treatment, we also need behavior changes, right? Taking medicines every day is a behavior change. Very quickly, with the investment framework, we can show that we can have impact on the epidemic. I'm not going to get into details, but if we continue to invest as usual, financing, we are not going to get there. If we focus, do faster, scale up on the right interventions, and treatment is one of them, we can avert more than 12 million infections, we can have more than 7 million deaths averted. Now, going back to the treatment part, can treatment be more accessible, affordable, simple, and efficient? UNAIDS and WHO have launched the Treatment 2.0 framework, and what we say it's a programmatic approach to reach 15 million people in treatment by 2015. We have 5 pillars. But I think the core element is that we're looking at simplification. We have several partners on this, on the treatment 2.0. We have CHAI here, we have Gates, we have UNITAID, Patent Pool. There are several different partners that are working with us. 5 pillars: optimize drug regimens, mobilize communities, adapt delivery systems, reduce costs, and simplifying lab monitoring. So I'm going to go through them very quickly, partially because the next speaker is going to talk about drug optimization. But the short and mid and long-term objectives on drug optimization. Short-term, we have current drugs, like we have the single fixed-dose combinations that are the best we can have right now, but they are not available everywhere, right? Efavirenz, tenofovir, plus 3TC or entricitabine is available in the developed countries, but it's still not a reality in most of the developing countries. We have also diagnostics optimization challenges. WHO has held some meetings, technical consultations, both to establish short-term priorities for drug optimization, but also to understand a little bit more about how the diagnostics, the lab and monitoring market and the pipelines around the world are working. Like on the short-term priorities, these 3 different work streams came out of a meeting that WHO held last year. First was 1 pill once a day to optimize first-line regimens. Like I said, the development of heat-stable once-daily PI options, and atazanavir, ritonavir, heat-stable fixed-dose combination, in improving the pediatric regimens to different formulations. Another thing that was discussed here in different forms by the different speakers was how the system delivery and the issues and the blockages or the challenges around system delivery. And I would like to say that we have some different experiences going in countries. And I have a colleague here from Argentina, you see, you're there, that are applying the concept of treatment 2.0, but it goes from the delivery part to the simplification part. The UNAIDS is in charge of 2 of these pillars. One of them is to reduce costs, and the second is on community mobilization. I'm going to go very quickly through this. It was also mentioned during these discussions we had, the strategies for price reduction and the need to have price reduction. We saw several slides around how price for commodities have been reduced throughout the years. We are working very closely with some R&D companies, UNAIDS and CHAI, to develop what we are calling access standards for treatment, access to medicines, and this should be released, launched before the AIDS conference. Also, in the support of use of TRIPS flexibilities, there was some mention here about the impact that the free trade agreements have, for example, on prices, and I think was for Mexico. Not by chance that I remember you, Jorge, but UNAIDS and UNDP will launch very soon an issues brief discussing the impact that free trade agreements may have on prices of medicines, especially on ARVs. And this should be launched, I think, now in May. Local production and regulatory harmonization as related to Africa, and collaboration with other stakeholders. You all know this slide, how generic competition made a difference on treatment scale-up. And also on price reduction. I think South Africa is the most recent example how if you prepare a good tender strategy, you can reduce prices, even though prices are volume related in many places, but Still, if you know what the market looks like, if you ensure there is an adequate number of products registered in countries, and that's why the harmonization in Africa is an important factor. If you encourage all the potential suppliers to apply, you have a chance to reduce prices. And you see here, tenofovir from 155 rands to 54, and that was 65%. With that money, in Brazil, when we did this type of negotiation, people would say, oh, you're saving money. Actually, we're not saving money. We need to put more people in treatment. So we need to use better the money you have. You already saw this, the PEPFAR results on the bulk procurement and other strategies to reduce prices. And I'm going to cite here the example of the use of the TRIPS flexibility, the case of Brazil, when Brazil issued a compulsory license for Efavirenz in 2007. In the first year alone, the expenditure with Efavirenz dropped from $42 million, was 75,000 patients at the time, to $12 million. And just so that we look ahead, this is recent data. The future is happening right now, and people are migrating from first to second-line drugs. In countries that use routine viral load, it's around 6% per year, and countries with long-term treatment programs already have 25 to 30% of patients on second line, and that has implications on costs. We saw different prices, and the Chai example on different prices already for second line drugs, higher costs. On mobilizing community, we do need to have increased community capacity, also the increased community service delivery, but I always like to say that we can't have community delivery services not connected to the health services, right? It has to be an integrated approach. And more than ever, and I think that's one of the things that separates HIV, and I'd like to refer to the previous discussion where someone was talking about the pendulum type of how science moves from here and there, and on the HIV especially. But that has happened in other diseases, and I graduated medical school in 1980, and I've seen many other movements this way and that way, and I don't think HIV is that much different, except that on HIV we have a strong participation of people living with HIV. There are several examples where community mobilization increases effectiveness. We have the HIV testing rates increasing in Tanzania, in Zimbabwe, South Africa, Thailand. We have condom use 4 times higher in communities with good community engagement. We have circumcision models, hypothetical for Kuala Lumpur. But still, as it was also shown during this day and a half that we are here, more data and evidence is still required. This is a slide from Mozambique, where we show the impact of community groups on ART delivery and retention. And you see the loss of follow-up. It's only 0.2% when the community was really involved. And there was a 4-fold reduction in medical consultation. So there is space, there's room to consider other modes and the involvement of community groups. What's needed to meet the challenge of scaling up? Radical simplification. We are expecting that the new WHO guidelines that Gottfried referred to yesterday will follow the line of simplification of treatment regimens. We need innovation in drug design, in diagnostics, innovation in delivery. We need efficiency gains, effectiveness and impact. But we need equity in access, and we need affordable solutions, right? And we need resources. We're talking about it. And I leave this last message here, because are we there yet? When we look down here, we think we are there, right? Because we can see it, we can see the bridge. But there's still a lot of uncertainties ahead of us. And I hope by the end of this seminar, we'll maybe have advanced a little bit on this side. Thank you very much.